Welcome to Simufur 1301. These videos are intended for drivers who are new to our leagues and are unfamiliar with some of our policies and procedures. In this video, we'll be discussing blue flags. At the end of this video, hopefully you will understand what a blue flag means, how to tell if you are blue flagged, what you are expected to do under a blue flag, how to safely allow a driver around you while you are under blue flags, how to safely overtake a driver who is under blue flags, and when to throw the above points out the window and ignore blue flags. So, first things first, what does a blue flag mean? Well, it's a bit situational. In practice and qualifying, it means that a driver behind you is on a valid lap and you are not. Whereas in a race, a blue flag indicates that a driver behind you is about to lap you. If you're in the pits, however, a blue flag indicates that there is a car on track approaching the pit exit, and crossing the white line may cause a collision, regardless if you're in a practice, qualifying, or race session. So, how do you tell if it's you that the marshals are waving the blue flag at? There's 3 ways in-game to tell. First, at the top left of your HUD, there will be a blue bar above your current lap time. Second, in your cockpit view, your LumiRank driver info display will show any flags relevant to you. And lastly, at the bottom left of your HUD, if you have your opponent's display in Delta mode, you will see the cars around you. Any cars highlighted in red are a lap up from you, and any car within roughly 1 second of you will trigger a blue flag. So, you're blue flagged. What do the stewards expect of you? In qualifying, a blue flag is a command. There is a car on a valid lap, and you are not on one. You must let them through unless you're in a no-slow zone. More on that later. In a race, it's different. All you need to do is drive in a safe, predictable manner. Blue flags during a race are advisories only, not commands. They're telling you about something, not to do something. With that said, it is considered unsportsmanlike to ignore blue flags for an extended period of time, and you may be penalized for impeding another car if you ignore them for too long. In addition, most of the time it's safer for you to just let the other car around instead of trying to race them. Over time, they may become annoyed from trying to pass you and employ more aggressive tactics, which could end up being detrimental to you as well as them. So, how do you safely allow a car around you when you're blue flagged? Well, first things first, before the other driver even gets close enough to you to cause you to be blue flagged, you should be actively monitoring your deltas and trying to plan where you're going to let them past. Where they actually put you under blue flags will likely differ from where you plan to let them around, but you will have a better idea of what to do going in. Consider the track layout around where you plan to let them around. Is it a tight technical part of the circuit, like the S's of Suzuka, or a long straightaway or gentle curve? If there's a lot of technical corners in that area, it may be safer to let them around after or before that section. Then, develop plans for a couple of corners leading up to and past the location where you expect to let them around. Do you stay on the racing line, or get off it and let them take the faster line? As the faster driver approaches, refine the plans until it's time to act on them. When that time comes, it's fairly simple and can be remembered by the acronym SLOG. First, signal. Turn on your indicator to show that you're yielding, and state which side of the track you plan to be on. You should do this well enough in advance that they know exactly what you're going to do and can plan around it. If you plan on letting them pass just after a corner, you should signal on turn-in or at the apex. If you're planning on mid-straight, roughly when they get half second back from you, and if you're planning on letting them pass in the braking zone, reconsider. Next, lift off the throttle, no more than 50% input for a few seconds. You want to accelerate slower than them so they can slingshot around you, and then you can draft off of them and regain the time you lost by lifting. You shouldn't brake unless you're coming into a braking zone, and if you must brake for a turn, slow down much earlier and more gently than you normally would. Then, observe the car passing you. Don't make any sudden movements that they might not expect. Commit to your line and monitor the situation. Once they're alongside your door handles, go. ease onto the throttle, and once they're passing a good car length ahead, get back onto the racing line if you aren't already. Just remember, signal, lift, observe, go, and you should be good. So, what do we do if it's the other way around? Well, when you get within a second of the other driver, the first thing to do is to consider the part of the circuit you're about to come up to. If you're in a braking zone, it's better to duck in behind the car you're about to lap than it is to dive bomb them and try and get around. Outside of the braking zone, you can let them know you're behind them with a quick tap of the flasher. Generally speaking, using the flasher when you get ready to pass someone isn't a sign of aggression. If you use it once and sparingly, it's more of a way of saying, "Hello, I am here, and I would like to pass." If they indicate, you should take that to mean that they are moving to that lane, like turn indicators on a real-world car. If they're indicating right, you should pass on their left, and vice versa. Once you start a pass, you should commit to it unless it is unsafe to do so, such as a car stopped in your lane. You want to pass as quickly and painlessly as possible. They might be new, and you don't want to spook them. Once you're passed, if they voluntarily gave way to you, it's usually polite to turn on your hazard flashers for a couple of cycles as a way of saying thank you. If they're not giving way, you absolutely should not try to outbrake them. You will almost certainly come up to them in their blind spot if you try and do so on a corner, and there's no guarantee that they're watching their mirrors. In fact, it's safer to assume that they aren't. You also shouldn't tailgate the slower driver. If you collide with them, their wheel might snap around like mine did here, and if they're on a direct drive wheel, it could seriously injure them. There's also the possibility that you came up to them on a technical section of the circuit and they don't feel safe letting you around just then. Just keep a level head, don't let the red mist descend, and you should be good. Now, so far I've explained when, where, and how to drive safely under blue flag conditions. Sometimes it's better, or safer, or even mandatory to ignore them. For example, Simufur may operate what is known as a no-slow zone for qualifying on certain courses when certain conditions are met. When this rule is in place, you are required to create a suitable gap to the car in front before entering the no-slow zone, and you are required to travel at race pace at all times within the no-slow zone. If you are blue flagged and you're within the no-slow zone, you are required to ignore the blue flags and continue at race pace, regardless if your current lap is invalid. Thanks for watching. I'm Andreas, and this has been an episode of Simufur 1301. I hope you found this video informative, and we hope to see you out on the track.
Okay, your blue flags.
Oh god, look out.
That might be something for like holding the brakes?
Yep.
Yeah, there's something for holding the brakes.
Don't forget, if you mess up your qualified, hold your brake.